Political analyst Joseph Cheng. Joseph, Xi Jinping, China's president, in his New Year's address said, this is a quote, "Without a harmonious and stable environment, how can there be a home where people can live and work peacefully and happily? We sincerely hope for the best for Hong Kong and our compatriots in Hong Kong." Never did he say the word protest, never did he say the word protesters. It's a kind of well, what do you make of that statement? It doesn't really directly address the issue, does it?
Yes. Beijing and the Hong Kong government have refused to make any concessions to the pro-democracy movement. They refused to set up an independent commission of inquiry, which is considered broadly by the entire community as the starting point for a reconciliation process for a return to normal situation. I think the protesters, as well as the pro-democracy movement, have given up hope, have given up expecting any concessions, any meaningful breakthrough from the Hong Kong government. They are trying to engage in protest activities to demonstrate that the government does not have the legitimacy to govern. And I think they are prepared to engage in a long-term, relatively peaceful non-cooperation campaign.
While you're talking to us, Joseph, we're seeing live pictures of what appear to be riot police chasing demonstrators and firing something at them. Whether it's tear gas or not, it's not easy to tell. But do you think that, despite your assertion that people have given up hope in Hong Kong, these anti-Beijing demonstrators, do you think that actually these scenes can continue like this? Because if people are going to, even if it's low-key demonstrations, if it's not the mass protests and the huge violence that we've seen, even if people are still coming out onto the streets for the rest of this year, that Beijing can actually even allow that to happen. We know the economic impact that these demonstrations have had on the territory.
Well, the large-scale clashes with the police are not sustainable. And now more than 6,000 people have already been arrested. As you can see, in the last 2 months, clashes with the police have been on a much smaller scale, much more dispersed, although the level of violence have been maintained. Today is exceptional. Today was supposed to be a peaceful protest rally day, a traditional protest rally day, and hundreds of thousands of people took part. But then the protest rally was stopped and called illegal, and the police asked the people to disband because of some vandalism, because of a vandalism case. That was, of course, quite unacceptable to most of the young people, and that was the cause for the violent scenes that we have just seen on the screen. But yes, violent clashes with the police are not sustainable, and it has been proven already in the past 2-3 months. But then the protesters and the pro-democracy movement would like to continue to force the government to pay the price for non-response to their demands.
Where are we, Joseph, with Carrie Lam, the chief executive's promise to hold a dialogue with the people of Hong Kong, and saying that she humbly accepts the criticism that was indicated with the results of the local elections, when so many of the districts now are in control of the anti-Beijing movement? What about that dialogue?
Exactly. The chief executive has not met any of the pro-democracy legislators for more than 6 months. She has also not met the newly elected district councillors, and certainly he has not met the student union leaders and so on. So there is no dialogue. Apparently, Beijing and the chief executive simply wants to wear the protesters out through arrests and so on. And they probably believe that these protests will subside subsequently, but they have been proven wrong so far. And this is already the 7th month of the protest activities.
When you walk around the streets, how do you feel? Do you feel that even during the daytime, when there's no protests going on, that people are behaving differently because of the nature of these protests and the fact that they are a demand for some kind of universal suffrage, one person, one vote, for such serious changes to take place. Some of those demands may be completely unacceptable to Beijing and to Carrie Lam. Others may be provide some sort of room for maneuver in terms of the negotiations. But Hong Kong's history, given what it's been and having been a British territory for more than 150 years and now being part of a communist state that is controlled by Beijing, how do you feel that people are behaving now that all of this is in the open?
The society is quite divided and the situation is quite confrontational. Although normally the street scenes are very peaceful. You go to work as usual, you do business as usual. Hong Kong people remain hardworking and pragmatic. But at the same time, they are rather pessimistic about the intermediate term future. A lot of people are prepared to emigrate, especially families with young children, because they believe that Beijing no longer wants to maintain the one country, two systems model. Beijing thinks Hong Kong is too dangerous, too much a challenge to the central authorities, and it probably has been engaging in a crackdown, and people are quite pessimistic about the entire situation. And people do not see the lights at the end of the tunnel because there's no reconciliation process, and therefore people cannot expect a peaceful return to normal situation.
Joseph, thank you so much for spending time with us on this, the first day of the new year. Joseph Cheng speaking to us from Hong Kong.